and welcome to the Darby Creek Diaries. I'm Gail Thompson, and I'm down here in my frigid craft room in a hoodie because I can't turn my heater on because it's noisy to, to bring you a video that I've been wanting to do for years. And I have had such um, a good response with the original, and I just wanted to do a little add on for some updates to new supplies that are great for making snow. The first video is still valid. 99% of those supplies are still available, but I wanted to show you some new things, and I couldn't do this without you. That's the motivation that gets me here because you know how you can get distracted. So I finally did it. I gathered up everything, bought a few things to try out, and I'm going to share them with you. And I hope that you enjoy, like, subscribe, share with a friend, and maybe learn a little something along the way. So let's get started. Before we get started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fast forward so that you can see me applying all of the materials to both dark and white paper, heavy cardstock. And then I'm just going to fast forward that. I'm not going to talk much through that. And then we will go over the results after they've dried for a couple of days. I've just let them sit down here. So I thought that was the fairest way to compare them. So here we go. I'm going to talk briefly about each of the items, and we'll talk about their positives and their perhaps negatives. Um, so, for starters, we have that the Stardust Stickles. These are after everything has dried. I thought that was the only fair way to make an assessment. So, the Stardust Stickles, they are very sparkly. They're pretty condensed, so kind of opaque, and they give off some iridescence. If you like that sort of snow, that comes in both the Stickles glue or you could use the paste. Then the rock candy. Now, rock candy is becoming my favorite. I love it. It does not become airborne. You're still going to get glitter everywhere, but it also doesn't have the static properties. So when you put it in a shaker card, it doesn't just stick on the sides. It does remain in individual pieces. So I wanted to show you. Tim Holtz suggested in one of his Saturday lives, which I highly suggest you go and watch his lives. They are a lot of information, and you can just watch them in little sections. That's what I do. I can't typically watch 2 or 3 hours in a row. I wish I could, but I can't. So I just digest it in little pieces. And you can go to timholtz.com or to his his YouTube page. But he also said, "Hey, this year why don't we have some chunky rock candy?" And so this rock candy, see how the first one is they're fine little bits. Well, the chunky is not fine. It is pretty chunky. And so he decided that, hey, let's mix these two. And so I did get myself a little jar and I put half of the chunky and half of the regular together. And I just want to show you what a difference you can zhuzh up things with just some glue and some rock candy. So here is just a little cheap, it's actually a light, but it's just a cheap glass icicle. You can get them anywhere, the dollar store, anywhere. And then here's one that's all icy. I'd start the other one, but the battery in that one I think's dead. All icy and more realistic, and it doesn't take any time at all. And it really doesn't cost much. I think these were two for $1.50, something like that. Also, I got a box of super, super cheap snowflakes. This is what it looked like coming out of the box. I mean, really janky. It was like 10 of them for $1.25 or something. But when you add that mix of rock candy, the chunky and the regular, it turns it into something really sparkly and pretty. And all you do is just brush on the glue and you're off to the races and give it maybe, I don't know, a half hour to dry, but it's just gorgeous. Next, we have the Distress Mica Flakes. These are simulated mica, so they're not hurting the planet. And that is for when you want super big ice chunks. And it's really pretty, and there are certain situations where that is super gorgeous, and you can use it as in a shaker card, and it looks really nice, and it also does not have the static. Now we're going to go into some inks. The Bombay ink, it's just India ink. It is very opaque, does a good job. Highly recommend it. The Stazon re-inker, Well, to me, it's kind of yellow, and well, I think we all know about yellow snow. So, not sure that would be one that I would use. Then the picket fence distress spray. This is basically it's a spray pigment ink, and it's like all the distress items. It is water based and water reactive. But I just, as you saw, sprayed a little bit on here and then thought, well, that was really dumb. So I rubbed a little on there, and hey, it's okay. It's not opaque, and it never will be. But if you need something on a dark background, like snowflakes coming down and you don't want them to be all real hard, solid white, well, then see, that's kind of the way to go. Then we have the distressed crayon in picket fence. And my crayon was kind of dry, but it's never going to be thick enough. You can rub and rub and rub. And yes, my crayon was dry, but I think that probably that wouldn't be my first choice for snow. Maybe a base layer, but don't forget this is water reactive as well. So you want to be careful what you put on top of it, or you could have a mess. Then we have acrylic paint, and it's distressed picket fence. And I just kind of smooshed a little on there. It is it is pretty opaque. I would say that that's a pretty good bet to use. Any white acrylic paint probably would be fine. The picket fence is a pretty watery distress paint, acrylic paint compared to some of the other colors, but I think it works pretty well. Then I have the oldie but a goodie, the Flower Soft. Now this is sort of a fluffy thing that you know it's hard to describe, and it's kind of hard to find. So I probably wouldn't recommend it, but I bought it a long time ago to use for this video, and so I thought, we'll show it because some people may have that in their stash. So it's not terribly opaque, but if you put it on top of something opaque like a white acrylic paint, you're going to be fine. I think it would be just fine. And of course, I wrote all of this in that white jelly roll pen, and that does great. You can just, dot, dot, dot on backgrounds, and you can make really nice little snow dots just with tapping the pen down. And some things that you might not think about, modeling paste. If you've got white modeling paste, I'm going to show you. This has texture. And, that would have, if you've got some of this in your stash, use it. You don't have to buy anything. I mean, there's lots of things you have in your stash that look like snow. That's why I'm showing you this, because you may have some at home that you need, but if not, I do have links below for most of these. Then we have the Crystal Drops by Nuvo, and these are the white ones. And I see that it kind of crackles. So just know that you'll probably get that kind of effect if you want to do anything thick. It has a little bit of a raised, can you see? A little bit of a raised, but not a lot. There's like a little lump there. Kind of hard to show. Let me see if I can show it. That's still not very easy to show. There, but it's not as, thick as the modeling paste. The glitter drops, maybe ice, but these turn kind of blue. I don't know that this is the best snow, but I wanted to try it out. Then we have distressed crackle icicle paste, and this is kind of not so much snow as ice, but where there's snow, there can be ice. So if you want an icy effect, it does a great job and it crackles all on its own. Then we have another winter product. It's Distress Sparkle Texture Paste, and it also has a texture, but it's got little gold flecks in it. Probably not the best for ice or for snow, but if for ice, it's something to consider. And then we have Dick Blick or any gesso, just plain white gesso. Now, it does not have the texture that the modeling paste has. I'll show you. It's just flat, whereas the modeling paste you can see has a little roughness if you want that. But it is very opaque, and I think it does a great job. So then the last one I wanted to show were a couple of Ranger texture paste, and I'm going to show you the white version at the same time. And I also will show you here in a second the white version of the others. But this is the Ranger Snowfall texture paste. So I'm trying to, it's more of an icy, clear snowfall. It kind of, it's not as bright white as some things. This is the snowfall on dark. And it's like I said, it's probably better for more of an icy effect than a snowfall. It's really pretty, but it doesn't pop as much as say this white opaque matte texture paste. So this is very textury, which this is as well. I mean, I'll show you. Let's see, how am I going to do this? There. So you can see how much texture there is, but it's whiter. So I think the Ranger Opaque Matte Texture Paste does a great job for snow. But a lot of these do just fine as well. Then I wanted to compare like I did in the first video, I'm trying to keep things consistent here. Let me know if you have questions or if I'm confusing you. But the Stardust Stickles on white, now that makes a pretty nice snow, It may not be so great on the dark, but it does a great job on the light. And then we have, of course, the rock candy in its original. Then the chunky rock candy, which is, really shows up well. Then we have the distressed mica flakes. Now, I'm not a fan of this as much on white paper because obviously mica's got little particles in it that are kind of tan, and so it's kind of dirty snow. So probably, unless you're going to pick through and get little shards that are clear, probably wouldn't use it on light paper. Then the Bombay India ink, you can still see it. It does a good job. The Stazon re-inker, it just turned I mean, it's not yellow. It's kind of a grayish cast. And I'm not sure why, except for, I had it on pretty thick. Maybe if you stamp it, it's not quite as thick and kind of beigey, taupey. Then the picket fence, the distress spray stain is just not even, you can't even really see it. The picket fence distress crayon, it's there because you saw me do it. And then the acrylic paint, but snow on white paper, we can't really expect, a bunch on some of this. And here's that flower soft. That it's kind of an old-timey thing, but it is pretty. The jelly roll pen, yeah, it doesn't show up very well. And then we have the modeling paste, which once again, modeling paste, any brand, uh, it does a really good job making snow. I think we can call it the original texture paste. Before, back when I started crafting, we had art supplies and we had school supplies. We had no stamps. We had no billions of inks and no cool papers. We had to do whatever we could dig out of like a Dick Blick store or whatever. So now we have specialized ones, but the old modeling paste, and this jar is super old, probably 15 years old, still hanging out. Then the Nuvo Crystal Drops in white, they did pretty good. You can see the texture there. The glitter drops, they look nice as long as you do it on white. Now this Distress Icicle paste, I want to give it a break, mostly because I'm pretty sure this would be clear. But this was an open container that's probably been opened for 2 or 3 years. And I really think that this would probably be a lot more clear. I truly think that this probably isn't a good example. Then the Distress Sparkle texture paste, it it doesn't it pretty much just shows up the gold flecks, so I wouldn't use that for snow either. And then the Dick Blick Gesso White. So basically white gesso paint, and see, you can still see it. So I hope that this was helpful. Uh, Please go and watch the original, which will have a lot of other um, ideas in there, products that I didn't reuse here. I tried not to duplicate too much. There's a little duplication, but not a lot. But I hope you do find this helpful, that you like, subscribe, and most importantly, take care of yourself and come back and see me real soon. Take care. Bye bye.